Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Cindy Piggott, and I am the owner and creative director of Stampin' Chick Creations. And I have been a demonstrator for the last 15 years with Stampin' Up! And I am excited to show you my project today. So if you have been stamping for a while, you've probably seen this technique. And if you have not, then you're in for a real treat. So I hope you guys really enjoy this card. It was super fun to do, and I love how every time I do this card, it turns out completely different. So let's get started, and I'll show you the card we're going to make today. All right, so this is the card I'm going to demonstrate today. Now, I don't know if you can tell on camera or not, but this is actually a multicolored image. So I'm hoping that comes across really clear. And then inside, I've just kind of brought in the colors as well. So I'm going to show you how to do this. It's actually with a baby wipe. So like I said, if you've been around for a while, I'm sure you've seen this technique. It's always a great refresher though. And it's one of my favorite because it's so simple to do. And it really puts our re-inkers to use. A lot of people don't know how to use the re-inkers. So this is a great alternative to how to use the re-inkers. So let's get started and I'll tell you what we're using today to make this card. So I'm actually using a piece of Melon Mambo cardstock. This is my absolute favorite color, I think. It's actually a lot of the colors are based, my company colors are actually based on Melon Mambo. So, so I've gone ahead and actually already pre-embossed this piece just for simplicity sake, so you didn't have to sit here and watch me emboss. So I actually used the, it's called Tasteful Textures 3D embossing folder on here. And I don't know that you can see that, but it's a very subtle embossing folder, but it makes your cardstock look like it has an amazing texture. So what we're going to do first is I've already, cut this, embossed it. It's just a standard card base. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this corner here, so the top right-hand corner, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to fold it back. And I like to kind of put my finger here right at the edge, just to kind of help the paper. And what I'm going to do is line up the edge with the crease of my card. And then with my nail, I just kind of encourage that down. And I'm taking my bone folder and just creasing that down a little bit. So what I like to do here is I like to take just a little Stampin' Dimension, and I thought I had small ones here, but of course now I can't find them. Okay, well, I guess we'll just use a regular dimensional, or even just a little piece of glue. It doesn't even have to be a dimensional, but I like to just kind of put a little adhesive here just to kind of hold that down. Okay, so that's basically the front of your card is done, which is really simple. So now let's get to the super fun part. So what you need for this is you need just a foam plate, just a regular cheap foam plate. And then you'll need some baby wipes. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I always have baby wipes in my house. And I just use the Walmart Equate brand. They don't have to be anything fancy. I do find that the dollar store ones or the cheaper ones tend to have a pattern on them, and it makes your card have even more dimension to it. So what I've done is I've just folded that in half, and I'm folding it in half again. And what this is going to do is this is going to act as my ink pad. So instead of using my ink pads like I normally would, I'm actually going to use this baby wipe. So I've chosen the colors of Melon Mambo, Old Olive, and Bermuda Bay, okay? Because if I come back to my card here, oh, just dropped that. This is Bermuda Bay color that we're using here and here, okay? And the ink as well. So what I did was I just randomly just put some Old Olive directly on my baby wipe. And then I came in and I added Bermuda Bay, again, just randomly. And then I'm going to come in with my Melon Mambo. Now, if you find that your colors are not mixing well, what you can actually do is just take a spritzer and just spritz this. So this looks awful. And you're probably thinking, okay, that looks terrible. How are we possibly going to be able to make a beautiful image out of that? So let me just bring in the stamp set. So the stamp set I'm bringing in is called Corner Bouquet. It is actually a celebration set. So you can get this stamp set free with a $60 purchase January, February. So it's honestly one of those stamp sets that you probably look at and think, I don't really like that stamp set. Because I know that was my initial reaction until I saw things done with it. So I absolutely have fallen in love with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to adhere that to my clear adhesive or my clear block like I normally would. And I have pre-cut all my cardstock here just to keep things super simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my stamp and I'm just going to randomly stamp this in my baby wipe. So like I said, every time you do this, you're going to end up with a completely different look, which is so incredible. Okay, so I just used the stitch squares, or sorry, not the stitch squares, the layering squares for this. And so what I'm doing, just move that plate out of the way, is I'm just going to line it up on the corner. I hope you guys can see that. And I'm just going to push down. And then I'm just going to remove and there. So each time I do this, it's going to be a little bit different, which is like awesome. So there's one. I'll just do a couple just to show you how different they can turn out. And so obviously the different re-inkers that you use, you'll get totally different colors. So you can see they're similar, but very different. So you can get quite a few images out of one re-inking of your baby wipe. So it's kind of a really, really cool way to get a lot of cards done in a hurry. So I do this quite often with a variety of stamps. But I just find that it always gets such a wow factor and I just absolutely love it. So I find it actually works better with more solid images. So these are all pretty much turning out to be the same. And I can just go ahead and add more ink if I wanted. So if I did these in different colors, I would get a completely different look. So as my ink pad, as we call it, my baby wipe starts to dry up, you're going to notice that the colors will get lighter and lighter, which is so cool. So I can do this card 10, 11 times, and each one will be slightly different. So all I would have to do is continue to add to my ink pad or to my baby wipe, just add more ink to it. I could spritz it with water to activate those colors a little bit more. Yeah, one more, oh, two more here. So we might as well just finish those up. And then you can kind of see these ones actually look very uniform today, which is very odd because they don't usually. But what I will do is I will actually add more ink to this when I go to do the inside of my card. Okay. So let me just bring this back in. So you can see here how beautiful these turned out. So I'll just bring one up to the camera. I hope that focuses well so you guys can see that. Oh, I missed one. Missed one. Okay. So this is honestly, it's so much fun. So all you need is re-inkers and baby wipes. That's it. That's it. That's all. So those parts are done. So that's excellent. So then what I'm going to do is I'll bring in my card again. So I've cut out my my scalloped rectangle. I chuckle because anybody who knows me knows every time I go to say shapes, I say the wrong shape. It's kind of an ongoing joke. We have stitched rectangle or square rectangles. We have round ovals. So one thing you will know about me is that I love dimensionals. I use a lot of dimensionals, but that's okay. Dimensionals give your project the wow that you need. So this stamp set is so, so beautiful. And I think it just completely gets overlooked in the book. Okay, so then when I go to adhere this here, I want to be sure that I only adhere this corner here. So really, I'm just going to take a dimensional there, one here, and one here. And that's all I'm going to use. I know 3, you're thinking that's 3. That's crazy, but no, it's honestly. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere this here, kind of centering it in my card. And then what I'm going to do is this Storytime punch is beautiful. I love the Storytime punch. I use it a lot. And I'm going to bring in this stamp set, which is also from the next mini that's coming out. And it's called Happy Thoughts. And it was from $1 Million Achiever. And you're going to ask me who, and I don't remember at this point in time. But it is a beautiful stamp set. And I knew the minute I saw it, it was adding into my collection because it's so versatile. There's so many great sentiments on here. And the font, I love, love the font. So I'm using Bermuda Bay ink. And I'm going to just stamp my Thinking of You onto my, oops, the daisies, onto my Storytime label. Now, you might want to stamp this, then punch it, which I generally will do. But for the sake of this video, I decided I would not. So I'm going to close on my ink pad right now, just so I don't put my fingers in it. And I'm going to show you this, this one here. This is one of the very first ones I did. See the colors, it's so pretty. Okay, so now I don't know how many of you have seen this technique. I use this like on almost every one of my cards. So because this is the same size as my punch, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come in and I'm going to cut this in half. And then I'm going to use a dimensional on either side. I call this popping out. And I don't know what the technical term is or the proper term is. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to line this up behind, but I am just going to pop it out just a smidge. And smidge being a very technical crafting term. Okay, and then I'm just going to do this. So what this does is it just kind of frames my sentiment. So I use that quite a bit on my cards, you'll notice. I just think it's a great way to use your punches. Okay, so now if I come in here, I'm going to actually put my Thinking of You right along here, along the edge where this line is, so that it kind of covers that up, masks it a little bit. So now I need an inside for my card. So I'm just going to take a piece of regular Whisper White, and I am going to use this sentiment here. Just want to send some happy thoughts your way. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it on my block. Now this is where you would want to be using your Stamparatus if you have one, and I have 2, but mine are not handy at the moment. So I'm just going to do this the old-fashioned way. Again, I'm using Bermuda Bay ink. I'm going to line this up straight. And we're just going to stamp this straight down and left. Okay. Now I want to, on my original card, you'll remember I had this. So I want to go ahead and I want to add that portion to my card. So, but my ink pad is a little bit drier now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in, I'm just going to re-add some Bermuda Bay. And I know it looks really bad. It probably does not look very pretty at all, but trust me, it will. I think my Melon Mambo is leaking all over. The lid is just covered in ink, actually. It's weird. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this again, just making sure that it's inked up. I'm going to bring in my inside, lining it up and pushing straight down. And there you go. Okay, so now this is ready to be adhered. So I just like to make sure that's nice and dry. So what I like to do is when I'm gluing, generally, I like to have my silicone mat underneath just so that I don't get sticky everywhere, because the silicone mat will not, glue will not stick to it. Right, so, and my card comes in here. I'm gonna line that up nicely. And there we go. So there's my card. Now I need to do my coordinating envelope because we do not send out envelopes unstamped. So we need to tie this all in together. That silicone mat under there. So then put that there. And there we go. Okay, so there is our finished card. See how quick that comes together. So it's a really, really easy and fun technique to do. So here's my original. You can see the colors are just a little bit different depending on how much re-inkers you put in of each color. Okay, so I hope that turns out well and you guys can see that well on the video. You can reach me at stampingchickcreations.com for all my updates. So if there's any questions or concerns, let me know and I'd love to chit chat. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye.